You know, they tell you suffering is bad, that it's something to avoid. They whisper it in hushed tones. Stay away from pain. They build entire lives around comfort, around happiness, around this fragile illusion that if they just avoid enough misery, somehow they'll be fine. But here's the part they never tell you. Happiness. Happiness teaches you nothing. It's a drug, a momentary high. It's the warm sun on your skin before the storm rips through. It's the fleeting laughter before the silence swallows you whole. But suffering changes you. It drags you to the bottom of the ocean, watches you choke on the weight of your own regrets, and whispers, swim or die. See, I used to be like them, the ones who feared pain, the ones who thought the world owed them kindness. I thought if I was good, if I played by the rules, life would reward me. I thought if I smiled, they would smile back. If I gave, they wouldn't take too much. If I loved, they wouldn't destroy me. But life doesn't work that way. One day, the storm came, and when it was over, I wasn't the same anymore. They say suffering makes you stronger. No, it makes you see. You see the masks people wear, the lies they tell, the selfishness they hide beneath fake smiles. You see that kindness is just currency in a world that trades in cruelty. You see that love is just a loaded gun, waiting to be turned against you. And once you see, you can never unsee. That's what suffering does. It cracks you open, makes you bleed, and forces you to rebuild. Not as who you were, but as something else entirely. Do you know what it's like to break, to shatter so completely that you don't even recognize yourself in the mirror anymore? To look into your own eyes and see nothing but emptiness staring back? I do. But here's the thing about being broken. You learn how to rebuild yourself in ways no one else can. You become untouchable, because once you've survived hell, nothing else even comes close. Suffering taught me things happiness never could. Happiness never taught me how to fight. It never taught me how to stand alone, how to bite down on my pain and keep going when every bone in my body screamed for me to stop. Happiness never taught me how to watch people walk away and not flinch. But suffering? Oh, suffering taught me everything. It taught me that silence is power, that the strongest people are the ones who don't beg, who don't scream, who don't explain themselves to those who never cared in the first place. It taught me that pain is the greatest teacher, that every betrayal, every loss, every night spent staring at the ceiling, wondering if you'll ever feel okay again, those are the moments that forge you. I stopped asking for happiness a long time ago, because happiness is fragile. It slips through your fingers like sand. But suffering stays. It carves its lessons into your bones, brands them onto your soul, makes damn sure you never forget. And the best part? Once you've embraced suffering, happiness no longer controls you. People don't understand that. They think power comes from success, from wealth, from admiration. No, true power comes from survival. It comes from knowing that no matter what happens, no matter who leaves, no matter how hard you fall, you will rise. Because you've done it before, and nothing can break you the same way twice. So go ahead, chase your happiness, run from your pain, pretend the storm isn't coming, but when it does, you'll remember my words. And yet, they never stop to ask themselves, why does it always slip away? Because happiness isn't real. It's a trick, a mirage in the desert, making you think relief is just ahead. Just one more step, just one more dollar, just one more lover, just one more anything. But every time you reach for it, it fades. And the only thing that remains, the suffering, it's the only thing that ever stays. And yet they call me crazy. They look at me like I'm the broken one, because I don't smile like they do, don't play pretend like they do, don't keep lying to myself like they do. But let me ask you something. Who's really the insane one? The person who accepts the truth, embraces it, and adapts to survive? Or the fool who keeps running in circles, chasing something that was never meant to last? I wasn't always like this, you know. I used to dream like them. I used to believe in goodness, in people, in second chances. I used to believe that if you gave love, you'd get it back. And then, Life happened. One betrayal after another. One knife in the back, then another, and another, until I stopped bleeding, until the wounds just turned into scars, until I realized nobody cares. Not really. They say they do. They pretend they do. But when the world turns dark, when you're drowning in your own agony, when you can barely breathe, barely stand, barely think, where are they? Gone. That's the truth they don't want you to know. That's the lesson they don't teach you in fairy tales. When happiness fades, so do the people. But pain stays. It holds you tight when the world lets you go. It whispers in your ear when no one else is listening. It molds you, sharpens you, turns you into something indestructible. And once you've learned to love your pain, you become unstoppable. I stopped running from my demons a long time ago. I sat with them, I listened, and you know what I learned? They weren't my enemies. They were my teachers. They showed me the truth about this world. They showed me that most people don't actually want to be saved. They want distractions. They want fairy tales. They want a lie that feels better than the truth. But me, I want the truth. And the truth is, suffering is the only thing that ever made me strong. Happiness is an illusion, a weakness, a trap. But pain is pure. Pain is honest. Pain is real. And I'll take real over a pretty little lie any day. So let them chase their happiness. Let them cling to their illusions. Let them believe the storm will never come, because when it does, I'll be the only one left standing. You see, I didn't just learn from suffering. The old me, he died a long time ago. Beaten, shattered, left to rot in the dark. And I remember it all, every single moment. The betrayals, the loneliness, the nights I stayed awake, screaming inside, fists clenched so tight, my nails dug into my skin, begging for the pain to stop, begging for someone, anyone to give a damn. But nobody came, no hero, no savior, just the cold, cruel silence of reality whispering in my ear. You are alone. That's when it hit me. The lesson happiness never taught me. Nobody is coming. Nobody is going to save you. Because nobody cares. Oh, they'll pretend. They'll wear their masks, say the right words. I'm here for you. Stay strong. You're not alone. But when the storm hits, when you're drowning, they vanish every single time. And that's when I understood. The weak cling to happiness. The strong embrace suffering. Because suffering doesn't lie to you. Suffering doesn't promise you forever, then disappear when you need it most. No, suffering stays. It shapes you. It burns away your illusions, strips you down to your bones, and rebuilds you into something no one can break. You think I'm broken? No, I'm just awake. I see the world for what it really is. And once you see the truth, once you embrace the pain, once you stop needing happiness like a drug, you become something else. You become free, free from their lies, free from their empty promises, free from the illusion that someone else will save you. And that terrifies them, because they don't fear the ones who are still chasing happiness. They fear the ones who don't need it anymore. They fear the ones who were broken and rebuilt themselves. They fear the ones who learned to stand alone in the storm and laugh. So let them call me a monster. Let them whisper my name with fear in their voices. Let them stare at me with wide, disbelieving eyes when they realize I'm still standing, while they will crumble. And when that day comes, they will finally understand. Suffering taught me everything happiness never could. Let's go to the places people are too afraid to look. You see, most people, they don't survive suffering. Not really. They break. They shatter into 1,000 pieces. And instead of putting themselves back together, they stay that way. Fragile, helpless, weak. And the world devours them. Because that's the game, isn't it? The strong consume the weak. The powerful use the desperate. And the moment you show pain, they smell blood in the water. I know. I lived it. I was the one bleeding once. I was the one gasping for air, reaching out, hoping someone, anyone, would pull me out of the abyss. But do you know what I found instead? Hands that pushed me deeper. People who smiled in my face, then whispered behind my back. People who called themselves friends until I had nothing left to give. People who said they loved me until loving me became inconvenient. That's when I learned pain is the only thing you can trust, because pain never lies to you. Pain never tells you it will stay, only to leave when you need it most. Pain doesn't fake a smile, doesn't promise forever, doesn't pretend to care. Pain? Pain is honest. And once you understand that, once you stop fearing pain and start learning from it, you become something else, something they can't break, something they can't control. See, the reason people fear me isn't because I'm strong. It's because they can't hurt me anymore. They can't use the same tricks, the same lies, the same empty promises, because I've seen them all before. I've felt it all before, and instead of letting it destroy me, I let it build me. And that is power, because people expect you to beg for happiness. They expect you to chase it, to sell your soul for just a moment of relief. But when you look them in the eye and say, I don't need happiness, I only need the fire inside me, they don't know what to do with that, because they are weak. And me? I am the nightmare that suffering created. So go ahead, call me bitter, call me ruthless, call me a monster. It doesn't change a damn thing, because at the end of the day, I'll be the one left standing. And the rest, they'll be buried beneath their own illusions. Suffering taught me everything happiness never could. And that's why I will never lose.